Hello, and welcome to Lit by Moonlight, where it's not a phase to actually like the book talk book recommendation.
Who knew it could happen?
Who knew? I honestly, there are probably some good book talk books, but the only one that's coming to my mind right now is The Crow Prince, and that's why I say that. No hate to anybody who likes The Crow Prince, but oh my god, you should listen to our episodes about why we don't like The Crow Prince.
Wasn't a fave, and we still have to read the third book because, damn it, if we're not going to quit on the trilogy. Once we start something,
I gotta know.
We gotta know.
I gotta know what happens.
However,
do
I remember what happens in the second one? Absolutely not. Do I remember anything in the first one? Not a clue.
No.
Except for the fact that he had a tail. But we're not here to talk about the Cruel Prince. He had a tail.
He had a tail. We're here to talk about what then?
We're talking about Taylor Jenkins Reid's Daisy Jones and the Six. Woohoo!
Yay!
So, in case you need a refresh, in the late 1970s, infamous rock band Daisy Jones and the Six broke up, and no one has ever been able to solve the mystery of why until now. The members of the band have all agreed to sit down for exclusive interviews in preparation for an autobiographical retelling of their story. The tension, the music, the love affairs, all of it will come to light in Taylor Jenkins Reid's new book, loosely based on Fleetwood Mac, Daisy Jones and the Six.
Yeah. Ah!
And now it's
just gradually louder screaming.
Yeah. Well, hi, I'm Caitlin, and I think that Megan is a cinematic masterpiece.
Megan is a cinematic acid.
My thoughts exactly.
Megan is a cinematic masterpiece. That everything I just did reminds me of that one GIF of Hillary Clinton, where like I don't know, it's like gonna be like the DNC convention, and like I don't know, a couple of years ago, where there's like balloons everywhere, and she's like looking around, like making faces. That's me. That's me.
Mm-hmm. Who are you?
So I'm Emberlyn, and this is our podcast. I didn't come up with like a neato tagline to introduce myself this time around. I kind of forgot.
That's okay. This is our podcast, and you are Emberlyn, so those are two facts. So
I know, like we did it.
We did it, Joe.
We have a lot to talk about this week. Some of the big news about Daisy Jones and the Six is it just got its own miniseries on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
And we are going to be reviewing that for you here today. But at the time that we're recording this piece, we have not watched it yet.
Nope.
So what we're going to do is start by talking a little bit about our expectations for the series, and then tomorrow we're going to come back to you once we've watched the series and talk a little bit more about how much we like the book and how we think the series matches up to TJR's magnum opus,
Woohoo.
so to speak. I don't know if it's a magnum opus. I loved Evelyn Hugo, so it's hard to say. But
I have yet to read Evelyn Hugo, so I can't even say, but I'm excited.
I can't even say.
Yeah, I'll say it. This is her magnum opus.
This is a fact check. I said only having read like 3 of her books. Yeah. So what are your expectations for this new Amazon Prime series, Caitlin, based on your experience in the book?
I have high expectations, and I am fully prepared to be disappointed by the show. I don't want to go into it like in a negative light. I usually am not a negative person, but I don't know, I'm a little nervous. And I think it's because this book was one of the coolest books I've ever read, and storytelling wise. I think that's because I listened to the audiobook, which I really think is how a lot of people should read this book, just because it's a cool experience, because it's like a fully casted and it just sounds like you're listening to a documentary. So reading the book, I just kept forgetting that this was not real people, and
exactly
I got so invested in their lives, and I just am terrified of this being like too Hollywood, if you know what that means. Like, you know what I mean? Like it just based off the trailers that I've seen, like, it looks cool, it looks fun, but I'm afraid that they're going to go into classic, like, Hollywood tropes that I don't want them to. Specifically, I am terrified of how they're going to handle Daisy, Billy, and Camila. Terrified. I'm afraid they're just going to go classic, like, it's a love triangle type situation, which it was so much more than that in the book. And it never to me felt like an actual love triangle. It more felt like you know, Daisy and Billy were having these feelings, but Camila's just like, nah, nah, nah. You know?
Yeah.
So I am afraid that that's where they're going to go and that it might overtake the rest of the story. Like, I don't want it to be about Billy and Daisy, even though I know a lot of it is. I don't want that to be the sole focus of, like, the three of them. And I think I'm just terrified of what they're going to do to Camila's character.
Yeah, I would protect Camila with my life when it comes to this series. Like, I love her. She's one of my favorite characters in the book for many reasons, which we'll get into tomorrow, or like in a couple minutes here. It makes me nervous. Like, again, put another meme next to my head of like me holding Camila and like pointing at somebody and being like, no, leave her alone, because she's like just so well written. Yeah, and I just don't want her to become like the other woman or like the villain of the story, because she's anything but.
What are your expectations?
I think they're high just because of the success on book talk that this book has had, and in general. Because TJR is a great writer. Like, she just always brings it. I think some of her books are the most overhyped on the planet, and not for a bad reason. I don't say overhyped in that they're like,
they don't deserve the hype, but
they don't deserve the hype, but that like there's so much hype for them, and justifiably so. They're great books. So Amazon has been doing some crazy PR for this show. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I feel like with the algorithms on TikTok, it's probably always just me.
But I haven't seen anything, actually.
Really? Yeah. Okay. I've seen a lot of TikTok ads. Free People, the clothing brand, is doing a collab with Daisy Jones and the Six, which is crazy. Like, I don't know if I'm able to afford it because it's Free People, but it's crazy to me that that's something we're doing.
You know, what I did get was I woke up this morning to an email from Goodreads, and it was like, Daisy Jones and the Six is here, but like all it was, and maybe like the rest of it didn't load, was just like a poster, and it had Daisy. And then it had like so I can't remember what brand it was, but like some like hair dye brand, and the quote said, "Everyone needs to be a redhead at least once in their life." And I was like, I mean, yeah, sure, this is for me, I guess.
Like, this is very targeted.
This is targeted. I'm not gonna buy your product though, because I don't need it. But like, I agree.
Yes, girl. De-influence, as you should.
So that is honestly the only like outside marketing that I've seen for this show, except for the trailer that I watched on YouTube. So I got nothing.
Yeah, the way they're marketing is so interesting to me, because they've just released Aurora the album, and then we've seen a couple promos, and they've released a couple songs as singles in advance. So we're just kind of getting things almost in the way that you'd get like a new album release. It's very interesting. I'm a huge 70s rock girl. Like, I grew up on that. The music is like a part of who I am. I love Fleetwood Mac. They are like, if there was a cult dedicated to worshiping Fleetwood Mac, I'd be in it. Like, sorry, I know that's like really weird and messed up, but I would. But with that in mind, I am a little nervous about what I've seen so far. I think that by itself, it's very challenging to produce a show like this, because it's based on a book where everyone is an unreliable narrator, and everyone remembers things differently as they're being interviewed, and not everyone who's being interviewed in the book is going to be willing to disclose exactly what happened. So whatever the show creators decide to show us may be affirmed as the truth, and I don't love that. It takes some of the magic of interpretation away that I love about the book.
Right.
So like a good example of that is like Camila, I interpret as being somebody who's very like, who's just like lovely. Yeah. And part of this is because of the way that people describe her in the book. Like, she is, and this is the opportunity to tune away. If you haven't read the book yet or watched the series.
Spoiler.
In 3, 2, 1, because Camila has passed away, the way that everyone talks about her in the book is definitely with rose-tinted glasses. But at the same time, I like that interpretation of her. I like that they uphold her as somebody who, you know, is very cool and kind of grounded, and yet like very powerful and strong as a woman. And I kind of hope they don't take that away from her, and make her into like the other woman.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. I don't want her to be a villain.
No.
I'm terrified.
No.
I'm scared.
Please. So, with all of that in mind, Caitlin, you and I are going to take a break to watch the first 3 episodes of Daisy Jones and the Six as they've been released. And every week for the rest of March, we'll be tuning in with you all to share our reviews of the next couple episodes. So, let's go do that and then come back. So we are back.
We're back.
And we have watched the first 3 episodes of Daisy Jones and the Six. So before we dive in and talk a little bit about the series, I want to start us off with the book, just so we can talk a little bit about the world building and the source material. Caitlin, what did you think of the world building in the book?
So in the book, I listened to the audiobook, which honestly, some character growth for me as someone who was really bad at audiobooks last year.
Oh, yay!
Woohoo! I'm doing it.
Nice.
I'm killing it. I listened to this audiobook, and I think I said it before already, but I think that's the way to go with this book because it was such a unique experience with like the style of this book because it's laid out like it's a documentary. Like even in the book, it's just like Daisy, and there's her line, and then Billy, then there's his line. The audiobook is like you're listening to a documentary, and it's incredible. Like it got me so immersed into the story that I genuinely forgot that this was a fake story and that I couldn't go and listen to the music afterwards because like I'd be like driving home listening to it in my car and be like, oh, I can't wait to listen to Aurora when I get home, and then I get home and be like, oh yeah, I can't.
It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. These people aren't real.
Right.
So I just thought it was such a cool idea to do it that way, and just for the fact that it's been 20 years since this all supposedly happened, for like every character to kind of like contradict each other in some way was really cool. And I just thought it was interesting because it was like unreliable narrators all around because like you never knew, is this true? Are they remembering it correctly? Like it was really cool. It was really cool. What about you?
Same for me. This would have been my second Taylor Jenkins Reid book. And I've read another one since then, but I am just so overwhelmed by her gift of being able to generate these characters and create these worlds that, I mean, are so convincing that there are points when you're like, oh yeah, like that exists, like we were saying about Aurora. So I love her. I think she's so talented. I learned recently, I was reading, I think it was an AP News article about her, how she used to be in casting in LA.
Oh,
and
really?
And she kind of started writing her first book, and that's where she realized that was kind of her purpose in life. But then, of course, having this and then Evelyn Hugo being adapted for television has obviously brought her back into the Hollywood world, which is really awesome because it seems like she has that past experience and a wealth of knowledge about what it is to be, I think, a celebrity. She does that really well. I love the book. I think you're right that the audiobook, I listened to that as well. It reads like a documentary. It feels like you're listening to like an episode of MTV Behind the Music. So, and then like the casting for the audiobook is incredible. They have a full cast and they've got some really great voice actors. I think it would have been cool if this won a Grammy just because of how well it's acted and kind of like what it brings. It was just really good.
All right. So with all of that in mind, how did you feel like the world that Taylor Jenkins Reid created with Daisy Jones transferred to the series so far?
So it's been kind of a mixed bag for me. I really not surprisingly, but it was unexpected for me how much I would like Riley Keough as Daisy, which is weird because she's literally like rock and roll nepotism baby royalty.
Is
she? Yes, she is the granddaughter of Elvis.
Oh, wait. I
yeah, is that cool?
Yeah,
because
my mom's like,
right?
oh, Riley Keough, that she's the granddaughter of Elvis. And I was like, huh?
That's crazy, right?
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. So I mean, I feel like she has the voice and the look and the attitude.
100%.
That she did a stellar job in this first 3 episodes. I feel like she really personified Daisy's character. It was like way cooler and better than I was expecting. Not that I had low expectations.
It's her voice.
Yeah. Yeah, she has a great voice. Like, she has this really surprising rasp that you wouldn't expect because she has like a higher octave voice. So I found myself actually loving her solo work more than the actual songs they all put out together, which is funny because it's like, and maybe it was just, maybe we'll talk about this more later, maybe it's just the mixing on Aurora, but like there's just something about her solo work that I was like, okay, Joni Mitchell, okay, Joan Baez, like bring it on home. Like I really liked it. And then the costuming for the show is just fabulous. I think they really captured,
beautiful.
Go ahead. Yeah, like they really captured the 70s look and committed to the 70s trends. Every time like Karen would come out, or like even Daisy, and Camilla, I would be like, every time
I'm like, I'm stealing that look, and I'm stealing that look, and I'm stealing that look.
Those are my positives so far, but like I think there are a couple things, like a couple small changes that I think I'm gonna have to get used to as like a book, a fan of the book. Like the 6 thing where it's like there's 5 of them instead of 6, but then like they're considering Camila the 6th person. Is like weird to me. Like I can see maybe they're like, okay, we don't want to add like another guy in because maybe it'll be overcomplicating. I could see why they would do that if this documentary wasn't named The Six, like if this band wasn't named The Six. Yeah. But it is, so it's weird. I don't know. Like,
yeah, because I was literally... Justice for Pete. I was literally like, when they're all sitting in like the booth at the restaurant, they're like, we can call the 6. I was like, wait, there's 6 of them. Wait, there's supposed to be 7 of them. Wait, what's going on? I'm so confused. I was literally like, I was like doing a mental count. I was like, okay, we got Daisy's not in yet, but we got Billy and we got Karen and we got Graham and we got Warren, and then it was like, Pete? Where's Pete? Because we have Eddie, and there was Pete. I was like, wait, yeah, what happened to him? And like, to be fair, I don't remember a lot about him in the book.
No, I don't remember
significantly.
Either,
so I kind of get why they took him out if it was just going to be like a we don't know what to do with this character. And I did kind of like what they how they almost kind of like explained it in like I think it was episode 3, like after Billy like left or was going to leave, they're like, so now there's only 4 of you, and what are you gonna change their name? They're like, no, it's funnier.
Yeah,
and we're still called the 6. I'm like, I kind of like that though, because I think it's funny. So like it works. But I also like had to do like the lady doing math meme. I was like, wait,
what do you mean? Work? Yeah, where's the other guy? Yeah, what did Pete do? What was his job in the band?
He was the bass.
Oh, so now Eddie would have been the bass.
I wrote this down when I was first reading the book because I wanted to keep track of everything.
Oh, that's smart.
So Billy's the lead singer, Graham was the lead guitar, Warren's the drummer, Pete Loving was the bass, and Chuck was the rhythm guitar. I do kind of like that they made him just go to school and not die in Vietnam. So I'm glad that he's still alive and he's going to go be a dentist.
Good on you, babe. You're alive and a dentist.
Yeah. And then Eddie, who was Pete's brother, replaced Chuck on the rhythm guitar, and Karen is the keyboardist.
Okay.
So.
Okay. That I feel like you're right. I feel like that makes sense. And I mean, like, my only thing is like, and this is like stupid, but if you're going to make Camila the honorary 6th member of the 6, then put some respect on her name.
Yeah.
Billy,
yeah, seriously.
You bitch. Yeah, I'll talk more about that later, but oh my God. The last thing, this is so picky. Like, this is just me nitpicking.
That's fine.
But I want you to hear me out. If they filmed, you can tell how much this affects me. If they had filmed this on actual film, like an actual film documentary on film.
On film?
Yeah. I know it's tedious. I know it's expensive, but just hear me out. I would have believed you. I would have believed it. Because I think what's hard for me when it comes to wrapping my head around this series is you're using modern technology to create the feeling and vibe of the 70s. And even with this documentary taking place in the 90s, like, film would make the most sense. Like, like, this would have been the prime opportunity to implement 70s technology to press and mix Aurora for vinyl, to use actual Super 8 film for Camila's camera and not just a filter. I hate those filters. I'm sorry. Like, they're dumb.
It felt, like, I was like, oh yeah, this is on Amazon.
I was like, it's giving Cape Cut. It's giving TikTok filter. Like, come on. And then to make it an actual film documentary. First of all, it would have been beautiful. Second of all, it would have ended me. It would have ended my life. I think that's what this show is really missing, and I think that's the missing piece for me so far this season, is it does just feel like it feels very Netflixy. Like, I just wish they hadn't digitized so much of it. What about you?
Yeah, I kind of, on the way it's filmed, I don't know if I like how they're doing the documentary bits yet. I don't believe it. Like, at first, like, when it first started out and it shows all of them, and then it's got, like, it, like cuts to all of, like, this footage of them, like, on stage or whatever, and they have, like, the text on screen, like, back in the 70s, blah, 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 you know? I was like, okay, cool, it's a documentary, and I was kind of here for it, but then when they cut to, like, it's like Daisy's talking about when she grows up, and then it cuts to her as a child. I was like, oh, no, wait a minute. How did you get that footage?
I wouldn't have seen that. I was like, it's like flashbacks.
It felt weird to me. And also, it doesn't look like it's been 20 years since they did.
I think,
I'm sorry. Karen's blonde wig is so bad. I hate it. I think it looks horrible. I know nothing about costuming. I know nothing about wigs. But when it showed her, I was like, "What is she doing? What she got on her head? What's going on? I don't.
What's
I don't
under there? What's under there? What are you hiding under there, Karen?"
Yeah, like, it just makes me look like they're like, "Oh shit, it's been 20 years. You're a young actress. Here's a blonde wig." I'm like,
Yeah, like, Suki Waterhouse is gorgeous. I feel like you had to age her just a little bit. Like, I mean, in the book, it's like 40 years have passed. And 40? Then, and then, or like, definitely not 20 years. And then this is the justification that is used for why there's no aging makeup in the show, that it's only been 20 years. But it's like, okay, like, maybe for celebrities, maybe they get a lot of work done. I don't know. You know, people are rich. Yeah,
but it doesn't, because it just looks like Suki Waterhouse in a wig.
Yeah, and like, they do this great job of copying Stevie Nicks' 90s straight hair, but then it's like she still looks the same, so it's like confusing. Yeah. Like,
because it looks like this happened more like a couple years ago than it did 20 years ago. I don't believe
20 years
it.
Down the line.
And like, you can put Sam Claflin in a beard all you want, but this happened yesterday. And I feel like the only one I could almost believe is Daisy. In a way.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's just, you can tell, like, we put aging makeup on you, or we gave you different colors in your hair, and I don't know. It's weird to me. It's weird to me. I don't believe it as a documentary.
Yeah. I feel like the plot itself, everything that's going on, like, without the I feel like it's meant to be seen as a documentary, but I almost feel like it would have been easier for me to process if it hadn't been, if that context hadn't been used, just because it's like confusing. Like, what parts of this are just flashback, which parts of these are documentary, like.
Like, I know it's documentary because obviously it is, because that's how they show it. And I get the storytelling. Like, I get having to tell the story in this way of, like cutting back to scenes as if, like, it's not, like, actually, like, found footage or whatever. But it doesn't work for me right now. I'm like, maybe I'll change my mind later on. Like, I get it storytelling wise, but I don't get that it's been 20 years.
Yeah, I don't get that either. The other thing I didn't get, now that you bring up the flashbacks to her childhood, is like, her mom is so mean to her. And that's like, I don't know, in the story, what makes it heartbreaking are that Daisy's parents are kind of just indifferent to her. Like, they just kind of, like, don't care about her. They kind of do what a lot of parents did in the 50s and 60s and just kind of, like, totally ignore their kids in favor of elaborate garden parties. But in the show, her mom is so mean to her. And it's like, why are you so mean? Like, why? who hurt you? Like,
yeah,
it's just, it takes something away, I think, from Daisy's character, because what I feel like she's looking for someone to see her, and her parents didn't see her. And then in the show, her parents are just mean to her. And I feel like that's, I don't know why, but I feel like that's different than just not being seen.
Yeah, because I was going to say, like, that was her whole point, was, like, she wanted people to see her for her work. And, like, when people would just, like, when the guy just, like, took her lyrics, she's just like, hey, what, like, I'm not going to be in, like, the whole, like, I'm not somebody's muse, I am the muse line. Like, that hits different when she's been struggling to be seen this entire time. Like, I don't know. I completely agree.
So, keeping all these first impressions in mind, what was your hook for the series? Like, what really got you interested in watching, other than the book?
Daisy. Daisy. I think she's my favorite part of the show. And I feel like that's why almost like episode 3 was the hook, because I mean, like, obviously that's what you're all looking for, is for, because you're getting both storylines, so you're waiting for her to finally meet up with the rest of the band. Right. And so, like, obviously I was looking forward to that, but I feel like the show really took off when she was there. And maybe it's because of the dynamics between her and Billy. Maybe it's because I'm, like, really excited to see her, like meet the rest of the band and work with them, and I'm excited to see them move forward. But I felt like the show didn't get super, this is gonna sound so bad, but it wasn't interesting to me until Daisy showed up with the band. Like, it just, like I was invested in her, maybe because I read the book and because I really liked her as a character in the book. But I just, like, once she showed up, I was like, okay, this is the show I've been looking for. Like, this is what I've been waiting for. Yeah. It's her. So I feel like, and I completely agree with you, her songs I was way more interested in, and I liked way better than anything else that was being played.
I know. It's like, wait, say more about that, girl. Wait, who were you as a solo artist?
Yeah, right. Daisy. Daisy's my hook. She just is the moment, and I'm way more invested in her than I am Billy.
Yeah.
Although,
I mean, yeah.
I do like his storyline with Camila, and I thought it was really interesting in the book, like, his whole, like, struggle with, like, alcohol and, you know, not wanting to be like his father and, like, struggling with all of that. So, like, I thought that was really interesting. But when it all comes down to is Daisy. So.
Yeah. I feel like Daisy is kind of the enigma of this series, right? Like, she knows who she wants to be. She will say no to opportunities that she feels like don't align with her vision. Yeah. She's really just, like, interesting. She's got, like, this cool, like, I don't know, like, Florence Welch energy that I feel like is going to become more prominent in later seasons. I've seen Daisy. Yeah, I've seen Daisy compared a lot to Florence Welch in, like, before in, like, book talk world, so it's cool to see that kind of transfer.
As a Florence Welch stan, I, like, watching this, I was like, you know that, like, when they were casting, they're, like, had pictures of Florence, like, tacked up on their wall, be like, we need someone to look like her, because it's
we need her, and if we can't get her, we'll get someone like her. Yeah.
I think it's the long red hair and the bangs, which is just the entire time I'm like, do I want bangs?
I think you do want bangs.
I don't. It's a bad idea.
It's a great idea. I'm going to enable this.
No.
Have you seen curly-haired Taylor Swift? No. Have you seen curly-haired Taylor Swift with her bangs? She looks so cool.
It's a lot of maintenance, and I don't have time for that.
I've
kind of got, this is going to sound so vain, but I've kind of gotten used to just waking up and doing nothing. So I don't want to have to, like, think about doing, and I did it when I was younger, and it was a bad idea.
It was a bad, oh my god, you listen to Girl in Red. Yeah, I get that now. I used to have really short hair, like Ellen DeGeneres short, and the longer it got, the more these days I'm like, oh my god, I miss that. I miss not having anything to do. It was so much easier. But I think my hook for the series was I think it's my hook in a very specific way, but Camila, just because I was really interested in seeing what they were going to do with her character. So
I mean, terrified.
Yeah, terrified, but also, like, to the point where I was just, like, staring intently at the TV, like, okay, who is she gonna be? You know, And I mean, I don't know. So far, I'm like, I've got mixed feelings. I think that the person who plays her is lovely, and beautiful, and like deserves the hype. Also sounds a little bit like Charlie D'Amelio to me, so I keep thinking about Charlie D'Amelio when I hear her, or like Dixie, I guess. I don't know which one.
I guess I'd have to look up videos of both of those people talking in order for me to...
Is she D'Amelio's sister? Like, yeah. No. But I'm really interested in seeing what they do with Camila's character this season. I really hope they put some respect on her name, and I'm going to be watching just to protect her with all the other book stands that really want her character to stay intact, like you, Caitlin. So
yeah, I think I also believe her aging.
Yeah, I don't remember.
She's a little like it. I could see it.
So, what were your 2 peaks in the valley for the show?
So my 2 peaks in the valley for the show. My first peak, I said it was Daisy, because she was, but I've already like kind of talked about her, but I just want to say there's some pretty good quotes from the show, and I feel like most of them came from the book, obviously, so I wrote a couple of them down. One of them is, Billy says it's not enough to meet the right person, you have to meet them at the right time. And I just really liked that for how that's going to come back later. I'm a sucker for lines that like they seem to mean nothing in the beginning, but then like the plot happens and you go, wow, that was a whole thing. And it's like, I don't know. I really like it when that happens, especially like if you know the book and if you know the story. I also loved, this came from the book, when Camila said you don't stop loving someone just because it gets hard. I love that so much because I think it's easy for people to be like, well, we don't love each other like we did yesterday, and this is really tough now, so we might as well break up. Like, no, that's not what you do. You work through it. So like I really liked that, and also just showed like a lot about Camila and how she's not easy to just give up just because something's going bad. She's very like confident in what she wants, and she's very what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know what word I'm looking for, but I just feel like it was literally just like tumbleweeds happening in my brain. Like, we don't know either. And then I also liked 2 lines from Daisy from the end of episode 3 when she said to Billy about the song Honeycomb, when she goes, you wrote a speech, but at the very least I think it could be a conversation. Because I fully believe that like Daisy 100% made the song better. Like, if you're gonna have 2 people singing like that about what the song is about, it makes way more sense as if they're singing to each other. And I just love that, and I love the whole storyline of those lyrics that happen. And then when she goes, did you guys want to record something or fight more? I'm fine either way. Like, she's just here. She's like, I don't care. Like, I'm here having a good time, and I've never done this before. But if you guys want to keep wasting your own time,
she was not there to kiss ass.
No. I think what I really admire about Daisy as a character is that like she says the things that I would love to say, but I only think of them later afterwards. You know, like when you're having like an argument with someone, or like you have like a confrontation with someone, be like, oh, I wish I said this thing because it was so much cooler and so much better. But Daisy's just like, yeah, I got it. Like, I want to be you. You know,
an absolute slay.
Yeah. What was your first peak?
I would say the portrayal of Simone Jackson so far has been incredible. Queer icon, the actress who plays her is doing a stellar job. Her voice, her range when she's doing that Stevie Wonder song in the club, it's so beautiful. I remember just like being like, oh yeah, like I was in it. I was like, wait, bring her back out here, keep singing.
It should be about her now.
And the fact that they label her as a disco pioneer, like they give her they put some respect on her name. I really like that so far. I'm really interested in seeing where that goes. Her love interest in the show, call me, beat me if you want to reach me. You are beautiful. So that's my first pick. It's just Simone Jackson. What is your second peak?
My second peak is I'm happy with how they're treating Camila so far. As I said earlier, I was terrified because I just have no faith. I have no faith. But I'm really happy with how they're treating her when she yelled at Billy, saying, "If you think you're gonna ruin our life, my life, like, I don't care what you do, but once the baby's here, like, you're gonna show up." I was like the Arrested Development meme. I was like, good for her. I also thought they did a really good job showing Billy's slow descent into like the alcohol addiction, with him like reaching for a drink every time he got stressed or things got a little bit hard. Like he was always like reaching for it. And I was like, ooh, that's good. And I'm glad that they're like doing that, and then they're showing that because it was such a huge conflict in the book. And I feel like it says a lot about his character with what he goes through and like what he ultimately ends up choosing to do. I really liked how they're also doing his relationship with Teddy Price, Billy's relationship with Teddy Price, because I love the father and son bond that they have going on, and I love also like I love found family, so it's not hard for me to get attached to that. So I was immediately like, oh yeah, I'm here for this. I love this. Like, he didn't have a father really growing up, but now you're his dad now.
You're his dad now.
I love it. You're his dad now, and I loved how we got to see the whole moment where he's taking him to the hospital when Julia was born, but then also he's like, okay, you're not going to go here, then I'm going to take you somewhere else because it's the only other option that you have. And he took him to rehab. And I'm just like, I loved, because like you can tell that Teddy like didn't really want to completely get attached, but he is in this way, and he really cares about Billy. So March is the month of found family and reluctant dads having a child now.
Yes, so, it is. And between this and The Last of Us and The Mandalorian, it's just happening.
If Teddy Price was played by Pedro Pascal,
it would just be like, it'd be like, oh yeah, okay. Once again,
like, he was too busy with The Last of Us. He couldn't do this once, so they gave it to the other guy. But can you imagine?
Just persistent dad energy. Yeah,
he's at home like, oh, he stole that role from me.
Damn it, another dad character.
Fuck.
Scraped up by someone who isn't me, Pedro Pascal.
That's a quote directly
from him. Yeah, we heard him say it.
What was your second peak?
So my second peak is that I love the soundtrack. So far, not so much the album, which I'll talk about in a moment, but the actual soundtrack. Yeah. The use of the Byrds and T-Rex and Patti Smith and Jefferson Airplane and Carole King is such a vibe. When I first heard Going Back by the Byrds, when Daisy walks into their club, I was like, oh wow, like I felt like I was there. The Byrds is one of those great bands that generates all this nostalgia for the 70s. I don't know how to explain it, except that all their songs kind of sound like falling leaves to me, like the passage of time and like fall and like things withering and becoming anew. So I really love that. Oh, Dusty Springfield. I'm sorry, I just keep remembering people that were featured in this first couple episodes. The scene where Daisy is leaving one of the clubs, I think, that she just performed at, and it's right as Billy and the group are coming into town in their van, and maybe they see each other, and it plays Beautiful by Carole King. Hey. Knock it off. It was so good. I love that song, and I felt like it fits so well with Daisy's character. Like, Daisy is Carole King. Like, she just is. So, what were your valleys for the show so far?
My valley. I mean, I kind of already touched on the whole, I'm not sure if I believe it's been 20 years. And I don't know if I'm subscribed to the whole attempt at their documentary style. I also think a lot of people's valleys will be how we say documentary, because I've been told that's not correct. But
like it's documentary?
Sure.
Documentary?
Documentary.
Or documentary.
Documentary. There's an A in there, baby. Put it documentary. In there. My friend Anna yelled at me for that, and she's from California, so sorry. Sorry to everyone who doesn't live where I live, but I say documentary. So there's that, and I don't know. I think it's mainly that and Karen's wig.
Oh, yeah, Karen's wig.
I hate it. It's so bad. I think another valley is that I'm just like, I'm indifferent towards it right now. I'm just kind of like, okay, it's a show. Like, I'm not like excited for next Friday to get a new episode. I'm more like, yeah, I'll watch it.
Yeah, it's not hooked me yet. You know, I'm not like
and
fully in it.
I do like that they're releasing episodes at a time. I do like that they're doing that because I found this with The Last of Us. I missed the whole like everyone's watching the same episodes at the same time thing. Yeah. And I really, as like, there's some shows that are meant for binging, but there's others that it's like it's more fun this way. So I do like that they're doing that, but also if they dropped it all at once, I feel like it almost would have worked because then at least I could have it all done.
Yeah.
I could see it all because I'm like, I mean, I'm going to watch it because here we are doing this, but
yeah.
I don't know. I think if I didn't read the book, no, I was gonna say like if I didn't read the book I wouldn't come back, but like I feel like it's almost harder to get in, and I'm saying this as someone who read the book. So like if you didn't read the book and you're here, tell us what you thought. But I almost feel like, I mean they dropped 3 episodes, so you can come back to it. But I feel like even after the first episode, I don't know if I would come back.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So I mean it really hooked me at the end of episode 3. So I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I'm just indifferent towards the show so far.
Yeah, I kind of feel that way too.
But it's so soon, so I still want to give it time to like really get me going because like the real plot hasn't even completely started yet. So
yeah. I feel like it's making me wonder if it just really does work better as a book that imitates a documentary.
Yeah,
and I feel like maybe the answer is yes. But we'll see, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm not far behind you there. I kind of feel like, I don't know, the moment I finished each episode, I was like, oh my God, I can't remember. I don't have any memorable moments. Like, there's nothing particularly iconic about this show for me yet, you know?
Mm-hmm. What was your valley? I know you got some stuff to say.
I do have some stuff to say. I have a couple valleys, which shouldn't be surprising, but I guess the first is, and I can't tell if this is like really picky of me or if this is like justified, but as much as I love Suki Waterhouse and Riley Keough and Sam Claflin, they're all beautiful people, very talented actors, but I feel like they may all be almost too conventionally attractive for their own good.
Yeah.
So I saw a creator on TikTok, and I'll try to remember who they were and tag them in the comments, who remarked recently, and I think this is like a really astute observation that I didn't even think about until I saw the show, is that we're probably going to be facing a shortage of period actors sooner or later because of all of the recent like buccal fat surgeries and veneers and nose jobs and fillers. And I'm not judging those choices as much as I am trying to acknowledge that natural parts of us give us character.
Right.
And I feel like if somebody doesn't have like a crooked nose or like crooked teeth, it takes away part of their identity. Everyone starts to look the same. Like when you see celebrities before and after pictures of who they looked like before they got veneers, or before they got a nose job, there's something about, I think, getting those things that makes everybody look kind of monotonous, and it takes away an element of uniqueness from that person's face, from what makes them special and interesting. I think about this a lot with teeth. Like people think a lot about how much like someone's teeth tell you about who they are, how much character your teeth give you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if I don't know if this has happened yet, but just I'm thinking about like Mick Jagger or like David Bowie. If they got veneers, that would be weird. They have naturally crooked teeth. That's what makes them interesting and cool.
Right.
Rock stars. I use Almost Famous as an example of this era because I think what makes that movie good is Billy Crudup, who has this lovely kind of crooked face, but still like this 70s frontman handsomeness as Russell Hammond. And then like Kate Hudson as Penny Lane, who has this beautiful round face. Like she looks like the moon in the most beautiful way. Yeah. And like really curly, scraggly hair. And like, you know, there's nothing defined about her per se. Like she has gorgeous round cheeks, but there's nothing like, she doesn't look like sunken in, I think, like a lot of actors do now. but like, I don't know. That's what I like about that show. And I feel like, or that movie. And then I guess watching the show, I don't know, it makes me, it's a little off-putting. Like, I think again about like Matthew McFadden as Mr. Darcy. Like, he's no, what's the word? Who am I thinking? Like, he's no Hugh Grant. But, like, that's the point, you know? Like, he's handsome for the period. Like, that's what makes him sexy, you know? So, I don't know.
Can I give you a hot take? I understand that he's attractive, but Sam Claflin doesn't do it for me.
Damn. Ooh.
I like watching this, I was like, you know you're pretty. You know?
Yeah.
And it was like almost, it's like too made up for me. Like, he's an attractive man. Don't get me wrong. I get it, but I don't get it.
If you've seen like, if you know Lindsey Buckingham.
Yeah.
If this is really based on Fleetwood Mac, do you remember Lindsey Buckingham from the 70s? Like, do you remember what he looked like? Do you remember what he did? Like,
I just
come on. Yeah.
It's like they're like, we need someone who's really attractive, so let's get him. Because like Billy in the book, everyone finds him attractive, but it's just the fact that he looks Hollywood attractive.
Yeah.
Not like I came from Pittsburgh and now I'm somebody. Not that people from Pittsburgh aren't pretty. Y'all are gorgeous. You're beautiful.
Oh my God.
But like, you know what I mean? Like this isn't, I don't know. It felt like, it just feels too Hollywood to me.
Yeah.
And Sam Claflin as Billy Dunn is just too like, he's in an Amazon Prime show and we need someone attractive to front this.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like to me. Nothing against Sam Claflin. You're beautiful, but I don't get it.
it's I think this isn't the place for like a gorgeous Hollywood actor. The place for a gorgeous Hollywood actor is like a rom-com that's like explicitly a rom-com. But like when I think back on some of the unconventionally attractive people from like, I don't know, period rom-coms, like Billy Crystal and When Harry Met Sally, I think if you're like, oh, Billy Crystal doesn't do it for me, just like think about the context of the movie you're watching. Like, Billy Crystal fucks in that movie, you know what I mean? But if it was like anybody else, it would be weird, you know? It would be weird. Like, you know, like I love Sam Claflin. He's got this beautiful wrinkly smile, which like, I don't know, I think sets him apart as an actor. But he also is very much like Finnegan O'Dare, you know? Like, not a rock star. I think they should have just casted Lindsey Buckingham. Just put Lindsey Buckingham in the show.
Lindsey Buckingham in the show.
Like, give him back his little cowboy hat and his 70s fro and just, like, put him out there again. Like,
can you imagine if, like, for the interview portions of it, it was just the members of Fleetwood Mac?
That would be so sick, though. I know they couldn't swing it.
They would never.
Jeff Bezos could
can you imagine?
never.
It'd be kind of funny.
It would be sick. It would be cool. It would be such a troll. I'd be like, no way.
Yeah.
So my second valley was that the album was kind of a jump scare for me. And I think part of the issue here is that this is loosely based on Fleetwood Mac, as we said like a million times now. And that's like one of the greatest bands of all time. Like Rumors is one of the greatest albums of all time.
Correct.
And then you have something like Aurora as like a complement to that in this series, which might easily be thought of as this world that we're telling the story in, is that world's Rumors. And it's just not, it just doesn't stack up. I'm trying to be fair when I say this, but if this album has one enemy, it is me. And if this album has no enemies, I have died tragically. Very tragically. I am dead. So that is how I feel about that. Like,
I haven't listened to the full album because what I listened to was enough.
Yeah,
I feel so bad.
The mixing of this album, I think I'd like it more if it weren't for the mixing. The mixing is disappointing. I think in the show it's less obvious. Like in the show it sounds fine. Like I can easily hear the singers. But apparently
when they were singing Honeycomb, it was like here's the music, here's their voices to me.
Yeah.
I was like, huh?
I can't hear the vocals or the lyrics on the album like at all.
As someone, I mean, I can't really, I don't want to like speak to like, I don't really know a lot about mixing, but I can hear it.
Yeah, like it's noticeable enough for somebody who doesn't who isn't, I think it's concerning that it's noticeable enough for somebody who isn't in the mixing world.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to latch onto any one musician's talent because there's such a mess of instrumental stuff going on that I just can't. It's like there's too many cooks in the kitchen. Like there needs to be some
too many cooks
attention paid to sound mixing. Like seriously. And then like all of the songs sound very similar to me. The drums are all very loud. It feels like maybe some of the songs would have been really good if they'd slowed the tempo down a little bit and kind of let the lyrics breathe and the message breathe. It sounds like maybe the feeling is missing a little bit. Like when you listen to Silver Springs, when you listen to Go Your Own Way, you can sense Stevie and Lindsay's rage. And I think it's maybe completely unfair for me to compare this album to Fleetwood Mac because it's Fleetwood Mac. Yeah. But I think it's really hard to make a fake album because there's fake feelings, you know? So that was kind of one of my...
They could do it. I think they could do it. Yeah. You can make a fake album with fake feelings. You can do it.
Fake your feelings. Gosh. So, yeah. At this time, and with all of this in mind, I think it's time for us to rate these episodes on our tier list. Caitlin, do you want to tell us about our tier list ratings that we have?
I would love to tell you about our tier list ratings. We have, at the very top, we have I Ate All of the Drywall and the Accompanying Nails. We have It Made Me Mentally Ill, Affectionate. Neutral Like My pH Balance. It Made Me Mentally Ill, Foreboding. And finally, at the very bottom, we have Riverdale Core.
Riverdale Core. So the first episode was Come and Get It. Nah. Sorry. Team Selena.
Team Selena.
And this is all about when Daisy's a child and growing up and Billy is coming into his own with the band. So what would you rate this episode?
I'm just going to cut to the chase. I'm putting them all in neutral. All three of them are neutral for me. Like I said, the ending of episode 3 got me a little bit more hooked. And I think the show's good. But I ultimately am indifferent towards all. I don't hate it, but I'm not loving it.
Yeah.
I'm not Pete loving it, you know?
Yeah. I'm not in like stan mode.
Yeah. I it's more of like, okay, I'm seeing what you're doing with the book.
Yeah.
And I'm like squinting at it. I'm like, don't mess it up still. Like they're doing a good job. The story is there.
Right.
But I'm not like, this is amazing. Oh my God. Like, right. I've seen adaptions of books that I've been like, wow, they're doing a great job. Or like adaptions of books where I'm like, did you read it? You know? Right. So, right. And this is doing a good job so far. I just I'm not invested yet. Yeah. I have hope, but I'm not invested. So right now, all three of them neutral like my pH balance.
Neutral like my pH. Yeah, I think that's a good place to put them. I'm going to put all of the same episodes in that category as well because it's not really, it's not really doing anything for me yet either. I have nothing else to say.
Yeah.
Sorry. I feel like I said everything I needed to say, so.
Yeah.
Like, it's neutral. I'm neutral. I'm indifferent. So that is going to do it for us here at Lit by Moonlight. Thank you for tuning in to listen to us talk about Daisy Jones and the Six, the series on Amazon Prime. We will be back with you next week to talk about the next 2 episodes. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and let us know what you thought in the comments if you're listening on YouTube, and if you're listening to us on your favorite streaming service for podcasts, then you can go ahead and like us or rate us or don't. Your choice.
Yeah, we can't tell you what to do. Also, if you're still here, we are continuing our Flag Means Death Season 1 reviews up until the end of March. Then we have Shadow and Bone reviews coming up. We got a lot of stuff happening. So, and we're ending The Last of Us soon. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
Lots of stuff.
Come visit us.
Come
over. Stay with us. Okay. Bye. Goodbye.